Let me start again. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Rossetti, and I am a career counselor in the Career and Professional Development Office, and I co-lead the Human Services, Government Law, and Education Career Community, along with my colleague Samantha Karpinoff. And tonight we are talking about an internship, how to find one, and all about one. So let's get started, and I will pass it to my colleague Samantha.
Great, thank you, Alan. As Alan mentioned, I'm also a career coach in career and professional development at Mercy College. I mainly work in the Dobbs Ferry campus. Some of the time now we're also working from home, so it's great to have those of you students who could join us this evening with us, and we'll be introducing our student panelists shortly, as well as later on our faculty who will be speaking about how to find an internship. So we're very excited to have this collaboration, have everybody here with us this evening. Alan, if you can go to the next slide, please.
Yes.
So just a quick overview of what we're going to review, as Alan already alluded to. We're going to first talk about what an internship is for those of you who might not know, haven't had one before, or just haven't become familiar with what an internship is all about. And then we're going to talk about the value of an internship. So why is it important to have one? What can that do for you as a student getting ready to go into the workforce? And then we're going to review internship experiences from two of our panelists who are here, Davina Resto and Charlie Henley Gross. So we're very glad to have them with us. And we're going to also talk about how to find an internship. So Alan will go in depth with the resources we know work for students, including Handshake and some other websites. So he'll talk about that a little later on. And finally, we're going to end with some faculty sharing their experiences as well as what they know about internships and the importance of them. So a lot of great stuff on the agenda here. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in. What is an internship? Well, gone are the days where interns found themselves on the job to carry displays, plug in coffee pot, make copies, make reservations, or wait for the next assignment in a cubicle. That doesn't happen anymore. Today's interns are front and center, and they are an integral part of team success. And employers recognize that importance of their contribution and ultimate success. They also recognize that by having interns, they have an opportunity to influence the quality of their workforce, which is really a good point to make. So as an intern, you might think, I need a job for me, or I need experience for me to build my resume and to figure out what I want to do. But an employer also values that because it means that it means a few things. It really, first of all, means that they're able to nurture somebody who hasn't come in as a full-time employee yet, but eventually could work there, and nurture them from the ground up. So that it really is a big benefit to them to be able to reduce costs and kind of guarantee that a student is ready to work for their company. So it's something else to keep in mind for those of you who might not have thought of it from their perspective. It definitely has a big benefit on their side as well. And lastly, you have probably read or heard a lot about the value of an internship and achieving a job that you're looking for and building your career experiences by the time you graduate. It really is measurable, and there are unmeasurable advantages for having an internship, so it can't be overstated. Thank you, Alan. So the value of internships, well, there are a lot of value here. There are a lot of important things to keep in mind when looking for one, and to keep in mind when you're in one to make sure you're getting the most out of it. So starting with your education and your career exploration, this is really an opportunity for you as a student to bridge the gap between what you're learning in class and what's happening out there in the real world. You can hear it from your professors, you can hear it from your peers, even who might have internships themselves, and other professionals in the workforce who you might have spoken with. But until you're in that position and doing the work and seeing it happen in real time in real companies, you don't really have the firsthand knowledge of if it's for you or not. So this is such a really valuable opportunity for you to learn what you've been doing in class, see it happen in real time, and understand if it's the right place for you to be. Next is gaining experience and increasing your marketability. So employers are looking for candidates with experience, and an internship will give you that experience you're seeking. This is such a interesting time to also be in an internship because a lot of them are remote. But nonetheless, if you can find those experiences and find that internship early on, maybe sophomore year, as early as then you're really increasing your chances of being able to market yourself and be competitive in the job world and when it's time to look for that full-time job after graduation. So that's a big plus. And then networking. So you have the opportunity to network with professionals who are in the workforce. You can find other people who are also in internships to network with outside of maybe the people that you work with directly. And then, get insight and ask them questions about how they found this job, what their career path was like, what they what they advise someone in your shoes to do at this stage in your academic career, and to be able to be prepared for this type of job. So that's really such a valuable thing to have at your disposal. And as a member of a team, when you're an intern, you have that opportunity all around you. When you're either working remotely, you have the opportunity to be able to ask anyone on your team via email or over the phone. But when you're in person, you can literally ask them questions right then and there. So that is so, so huge to build your network for the future when you're looking for a full-time job after graduation. And then learning how a professional workplace operates. That's a really big value of an internship here. They can help you learn how to act in the workplace and give you the necessary skills to succeed. So these are skills that you might not be able to learn in class because you're sitting in a lecture hall or you are working maybe in a small group in a class that might not be so large, but you don't necessarily know the protocol for communication with your supervisor or how certain processes work, or when is a good time to do this thing versus to ask that question, and in what method and how. And so all of that can be learned from having been in the workplace already, instead of trying to figure it out and scramble to say the right thing or do the right thing. When you're in your full-time job later on, you can get a heads up and be able to do that early on when you're in an internship as a student. And then building your resume. So an internship obviously builds your resume. It's another type of professional experience that can do that for you. You're able to add really, really valuable high level skills to your resume that you might not be able to in other experiences, like in clubs, or maybe even if you're volunteering. You can say in an internship that you worked for a company and that you were selected out of however many number of other candidates for that one spot. And that just has so much value that it carries with it. And the skills that you can gain from any internship really are essentially saying that you've done the work already. That's what employers want to hear. They want to hear when you're sitting in front of them in an interview, maybe even on the phone during a phone interview. They want to hear how you're qualified, and the fact that you've done that job already is huge. That can give you such a big lead in when you're looking for your full-time jobs after graduation. And finally, it can help you figure out what you like and what you don't like. So we've kind of already hinted at this, but you can test the waters as an intern. So you can sign up for an internship for maybe a company or a role that you might not think you will exactly love. And that's totally fine, because you're able to figure out by going through that experience if this really is what you thought it was. Do I want to work in marketing if all I want to do is design content all day? If I really love graphic design, do I want to work in marketing? And you find out that marketing, at least the internship that you might have, is mostly in data or mostly has to do with communication. And that's just not what you want to do. You want to be creating things. You want to maybe design things. So by having had the experience, I think that you can know for yourself if this is really what you thought it was. And that really just gives you such a much better edge to get on the right path for your career early on, instead of figuring out through jobs later when the stakes are a little higher because you have to earn a living, and you kind of have a little bit more pressure at that point to find what you want to do. So all in all, there's really no reason not to do an internship, especially with career services with our team. We are open and willing to assist you at all times, and we have so many opportunities that Alan will go into later. So I would say that for any student who might be on the fence, I think that you should definitely go for it, especially since positions are remote now. It's a lot more easy to acquire something than it might have been before because there's no travel involved, or it might just be a little bit more flexible with your school schedule. So something else to keep in mind. But I'll end the slide there if you can go to the next one, Alan.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn it over to our student panelists for the evening. And we're going to start with Charlie Henley Grass, who is a legal studies major and a sophomore at Mercy College. So she interned at the Hudson Valley Foie Gras, and she's going to talk a little bit more to us now about her experience there, what she learned, so that all of you listeners and viewers can benefit from the things she has to share. So take it away, Charlie.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, so first off, context. I interned for Hudson Valley Foie Gras, which probably sounds a bit strange. It's actually a farm. I live upstate. Of course, I dorm here, as you can probably see in the background, but I live upstate, and it's very small and rural and a very close-knit community. So I was lucky enough to have a family friend who knew somebody at the farm, and that's how I obtained this internship. And being a legal studies major, it sounds a little weird to intern at a farm, but they're actually involved in a lot of animal rights lawsuits and things of that nature. So every company, of course, is going to have a different culture, but the one where I interned here was very like relaxed and laid back, chill, if you will. It is a farm, but that's not to say that there wasn't serious work that we had to do. Like Sam said earlier, it's not, fetching coffee and things of that nature anymore. I always had that view as well, and that's not what it is, which is good because you get real experience. Being a law major, I was able to write legal briefs, see actual case filings. So it was real work, and it was very valuable because I got hands-on experience in the field. I got to see these real things in the Ninth Circuit Court of California. And of course, it bolstered my resume. I can speak to all of this now here and in an interview in the future. And it gave me confidence to apply to other internships, outside of upstate New York where I live. And also with resumes to apply to law school. I have these internships on there, rather prestigious, real experience. So, that also helps me stand out in secondary education. And that's all thanks to the internship. On firmer footing for the future and what comes next.
Awesome, Charlie. Thanks so much for telling us about that. I didn't know it was a farm, but that is a fun tidbit fact from tonight.
Yep.
Who knew, right? And that's a great example of how it might not seem like an internship that would make sense for you considering your legal studies, but you still ended up doing work and maybe gaining a few other skills you didn't expect that can help you.
Yeah, definitely.
Through the process. So really great example. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I'm now going to pass it off to Davina Resto, who's an international relations and diplomacy major, also a sophomore at Mercy, to talk about her 2 internships, not just one. And so we'll learn a little bit more about her experiences from those.
Thank you, Samantha. First, I'm a junior, but that's okay. No, it's totally okay. It's just for context for my internships. So I'm an IRDP major now at Mercy, but before that I was a marketing major. And so the internships I'm going to be speaking on are experiences from my marketing, my first 2 years of college. So I was lucky enough to get music and A&R marketing internships at Rock Nation, which is a huge major record label. And just one of the best experiences I think I've really had in my whole life, even though I'm still so young, but I was able to get this internship because while I was in high school, I was really a part of like a big music scene in New York City. And I was always at like small artist events with like producers and stuff like that. So I was always able to just like stick my hands out and kind of shake hands and meet people from different record labels. And I was able to meet the right people that later on in my college degree and my college career, I was able to reach out again and say, hey, I'm in college. I'm really looking for an opportunity to work with you guys again. And that's how I got the Rock Nation internship. And that was a great experience. The team that I was working with really showed me like the work ethic you needed to have to be in New York City a little bit. You know, it's like just like this fast paced environment. And I really learned a lot from that. And because of that internship, I was able to get my second internship with Fenty Corp, which is another huge like company, fashion company. And because of the people that from Fenty Corp that worked with Rock Nation, I was able to again, you know, stick my hand out and shake hands and meet people and make connections that way. And say when this one was done, reach out to like the people I just met and say, hey, listen, what do you think about me working with you? And I feel really lucky to have gotten all these opportunities, but I think it really speaks on the fact that it's important to like speak and talk to people and make those connections and not be afraid to like just, you know, stand out a little bit and you know, meet the right people. I think networking is a huge part of internships. And these internships are also important because I'm no longer a marketing major because of these internships a little bit. I was able to I had a great time. Again, the companies were amazing. I never had a bad experience. I think it developed my character so much and my skills a lot. But it was able to show me that it wasn't what I wanted to do and wasn't what I wanted to get into. And I was able to really like make that decision early on in my college career because of how early I started these internships. And now I'm an IRDP major. While I was marketing, I was a marketing major. I was a minor in peace and justice. So I had this minor already that it was something that I was also working with and doing these internships really showed me that I wanted to do something else instead. And I was able to make that switch. And thankfully now I'm an IRDP major. So yeah, if I could take anything away from my internships, it's making connections and really using them and taking advantage of them to see if it's something you want to do and really want to do. And that, you know, you're not going to waste your time and don't be afraid to make the switch if you don't like it, you know. That was something I was afraid to do was get out of it, get out of marketing. But after these internships, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. And, you know, so it helps you a lot with that. Like Sam said throughout her presentation, I think that's really important. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it's so cool that you were at a record label as big as Rock Nation. That's just incredible.
It was so incredible. It was just like, it was a surreal experience. I was lucky to be with them for 2 semesters, but the whole first semester was kind of just like so surreal, you know, meeting all these big people. We were working directly with the president of the A&R label, so it was really important people. And I think that really helped me build my character in being able to work with people like that and being able to work on a team so big like that, that, you know, you really can't mess up and you really have to be on top of your game. And yeah, so that was my experience. Yeah.
And I just want to say to Davina and to everyone, it's not a bad thing if doing an internship makes you change your major. That is a good thing. That's what one of the benefits of an internship is. It's relatively low commitment, where it's only for a semester versus a job. You know, we typically tell students you have to stay at a job for at least a year. It's best practices to do that. So it's better to find out during an internship, which is only a semester, and when you're in college and when you can still change your major and graduate with the major that you want versus when you're out of college, get a job, realize I don't like this, and then have to change careers and potentially go back to school, depending on what you would change it to. So that's really one of the benefits of doing an internship. And certainly that's a positive, you know, yeah. Finding out, you know, and I've heard that from, you know, a lot of people where they'll be like, oh, well, like an internship taught me what I do not want to do. And that's common. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's one reason you do an internship. And she still had other valuable, valuable skills throughout that internship in addition to that skill set.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Alan. You're using your time wisely. It's what college is for. And even if you might discover that it's not what you want to do and feel like it was maybe not a waste of time, but that you didn't get any skills from that you can use in your job in the future. Davina just named a few that I'm sure she uses now in terms of teamwork and professionalism and being on time and having to kind of get up to that other level of being an employee that you might not be used to as a student. So it's all very practical and applicable, and really great to hear that even in something as, I guess maybe not bizarre, but on one end of the spectrum as a record label, and now you're in international relations, it's still, there's still a correlation. So that's really great to hear.
Absolutely.
All right, I think we turn it over to you now, Alan.
Yes. Before I turn it over, does any one of our audience members have did any of the audience members do an internship and just want to share their experience briefly? You don't have to, but I just kind of want to put that out there just to engage a little bit. No, no one's done.
We have a quiet group.
No one's done an internship. Well, this is great then, because it is your first internship, so you'll know now how to find and why you should do your first internship. So that's great. Okay. So moving on. Oop. Okay. Is that? Yep. Okay. So how to find an internship. So you want to know how to, how to conduct an internship search in multiple ways. So there's several ways you could do it. You can certainly do it through Handshake, which is our job and internship board. You can do it through other sites, career sites such as Glassdoor, Indeed, just general career sites. You can do that. The other way is to go directly to the company's websites and to see if they have any internships posted. Not every internship is going to be posted on Handshake. So for example, like a company like Google, they don't need to post on job boards because it's Google. Everyone knows what Google is and everyone wants to work for Google. So that's one good example. The other way that so those are the ways that people typically will think about when you're looking for a job, etc. And also LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn has a job board as well, and you could look on LinkedIn as well. There's two other ways that are a little bit less common, but still can be beneficial. Number one, networking. Talk to your faculty members, talk to your PAC mentors, talk to people in career, talk to your family, your friends. They may know someone who works there. And many people are willing to certainly willing to help you do an internship. One good thing, so in our field, in social and behavioral, typically the internships tend to be unpaid. So when you ask, if say like your Aunt Sue's friend works at White Plains Hospital, if you say to her, hey, like, I have my niece really wants to work in a hospital, wants to intern. Do you think she can intern for a semester? Most people are going to be like, yeah, like we can get some help and, get some help on certain things, and you gain valuable experience. They'll be willing to do that. The worst they're going to say is no. Obviously, you must be professional about it and you have to ask politely and everything, but that's a good way to do it. And kind of segueing into that too, another way you can do it is kind of like cold calling, where you just talk to certain companies and you just go and just look through it. So me personally, the way I got a lot of my job internships is I just walked in higher ed, I just walked into different offices at my undergrad and just asked, hey, like I'm looking for a summer internship or a job. Do you have anything available? Can you help me? I said it in a much nicer way than that, but and I got an internship and a job. I got two internships through doing that through both summers. So that's a great way to do it as well. I know that takes a lot of work and it's certainly a little nerve-wracking, but that can be a benefit as well. Formulate the best strategy and timeline for your field. So it's really going to depend on the field when they're going to be looking for. Generally, in the social and behavioral field, a lot of places will be looking for. So, say you want to do an internship this coming spring, they would be looking for an intern probably November, December timeframe. They would be looking to fill and have interviews and stuff, or April, May, March, April, May for the summer and etc. Now, for sometimes certain fields, for example, like business and accounting, a lot of accounting firms fill their internships for summer in the fall, because if you know, through the spring, that's tax season and they don't have time to conduct interviews and fill their internships. So that's a great example of a different field and stuff. So you talk to a career coach about your field and kind of formulate when's the best timeline for you. Develop your internship search strategy and get feedback from a career coach to make sure it will work for you. So, you know, I've had students sometimes who are really motivated and say, I want to do an internship next summer and I'm going to start looking in October. Well, for our field, that's probably not going to be good. A lot of internships for next summer are not going to be posted in October, most likely. So I kind of gave her feedback and said, well, you should start looking in next March instead, when it's a little bit closer and you can have that time frame and you'll be able to start seeing internships that are posted. So we have several internship search resources. We have our website, career.mercy.edu. So on there, there are jobs and internships that are posted. However, the jobs and internships that are posted onto our website, career.mercy.edu, are employer relations source jobs. Those are jobs that our employer relations team here at Mercy College, which consists of 2 people, have polled specifically and are working with those employers to fill those jobs. Those are also posted on Handshake as well, our job board, but then there's also other internships and jobs on there that are not employer relations source. Companies just posted them on there directly themselves. We also have the job search guidebooks here. These are on our website under each career community. This is the Human Services, Government, Law, and Education Career Community guidebook. And there's several guidebooks depending on for each major, depending on what, or each career community, depending on what your industry is. We also have the Career Academy series. We do have it this semester. So that is, we do have one on job and internship search, which I believe already happened, but that's on our website and you can take a look at that and rewatch that. And of course, biggest thing perhaps is career coaches. That's us. So for many of you in the Human Services, Government, Law, and Education career community, that would be myself and Samantha. We're always here to help. We will put our emails in the chat at the end of this. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. Okay, so search methods. As I said, start with Handshake. That's where you should start, but don't stop there. Start at Handshake, but don't stop there. Again, those are where jobs, employer relations jobs are posted, but you can also look on other sites as well. Job search sites such as Indeed, Glassdoor, as I've said, LinkedIn. Career fairs, we did already have our virtual career connections day this fall, but we will have another one in the spring in March, most likely virtual. So that's a great opportunity to find an internship or job. Networking, as I said, talk to your faculty, your professors. They're a great resource. Talk to your PAC mentor, talk to your friends, your family. They're all great resources and they want to help you. And certainly they have some connections and they can certainly help you. And finally, LinkedIn. LinkedIn you can use in 2 ways. Number one, it is a job search board similar to Indeed or Glassdoor. Companies will post internships and jobs on there. And it's also a networking tool as well. So you can reach out to people and see if they have any openings or connect with people or a faculty member or a friend that you know might be able to connect you. Say, hey, like this person's looking for an internship. Can you help him or give him some ideas? And they can kind of connect you with that. Okay, before we move on to the faculty share, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I do see in the chat. Oh, thank you, Samantha. Okay.
Yep, I added the Career Academy workshop
Thank
link
you.
to the chat.
Thank you. Okay, no wait. What is everyone's major, by the way?
My major is biology.
Biology. Okay, so your career coach would be Joyce Sampson or Dorleen Curran. They're not here tonight, but I can provide you their contact information. And then through the faculty share, we don't have any faculty members from the School of Health and Natural, but again, I can point you in the direction to who you can talk to about that.
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm criminal justice and forensics.
Awesome, great.
That's Maya, she's on our board. She's here with us.
Yes, thank you, Maya.
And then Javier's here as well.
Yes, Javier.
Oh, he says he's a business major pursuing double specialization in marketing and data analytics. Awesome.
Awesome. So your career coach would be Gina Velazia, and I can also provide you with the contact information of her as well, if you would like.
I think he's on actually her advisory board, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Javier? I might be thinking of someone else. But either way, that's great to see you here with us. Oh, awesome.
Yep, he is. Awesome. Great. Okay. So I think we will move on to the faculty share. This will work, sorry. Nope. Oh, here we go. Professor Corrado, I know that you have to leave at 7 o'clock, so if you would like to go first, if that's okay with Michael, you can certainly go first if you would like.
Oh, you're still on mute.
I guess Michael can go first.
Oh, Michael can go first. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Michael.
Hey. All right. Can you hear me? All right. Well, I'd say welcome to this introduction to internships. I've been working with students who, who have been interns for 22 years now, and I was an intern as well, when I was an undergrad, and it caused me to change my major. I was in engineering. Both my parents were engineers, so they were thrilled when I was almost done. And I took intro to psych, and I decided to do an internship, but it worked out for the best. Davina, I kind of feel you when it comes to you have an experience and you realize it's not what you want to do. And that is one of the most valuable things you can learn at an internship. In fact, it's probably the first time that many of our students, actually see what it's really like. It's not in the textbooks. It's not what we see on TV. It's not even when we talk to other people who do the job, you see if it's right for you. And that's an important thing. We talked about, I know that Alan and Samantha were talking a lot about networking, and that's very true. Many of our interns at the undergraduate level, sometimes it's seen as sort of a extended job interview. Employers who have interns, they're hoping to hire, and they get to know you in an internship. I don't want to take up too much time because a lot of valuable things have already been said, but I want to just sum up with saying basically that you really want a career, not a job. A job is a short-term, process where someone pays you to do a task. But a career is a series of those jobs, a series of experiences which help define you. An internship is a valuable experience, that will help shape you and help you decide one way or another, help you meet people in the field. People love talking about what they do, and people love sharing what they do. That's what you'll find. Actually, there is one more thing I wanted to bring up. I've been with Mercy for over 20 years, which, I know I don't look that old. For 10 years of that, I was the school psychology program director, and I'm still very involved in school psychology and admissions into the program. And, when I see that a student has done an internship in a school, not almost, every single time I've seen a student with that experience, they've gotten into the program, and it's a competitive program. Sure, you have to have the grades to get into a graduate program. It always helps to have a job in the area, but there's something about an internship, especially in a specific area like school psychology, where it's like, wow, this person they knew back then, or they got that experience then, and so they kind of know it's what they want to do. Like with my field and some other fields as well, sometimes it's so specific. You want to know, is this student someone who's really wants this? Do they really know they want to do this? Or are they just entering it because that's their major? And the very final thing, I know I keep saying it's the last thing, but the very final thing is, that's great about having an internship is you really don't waste your time. Every once in a while I have a student in the school psych program. So it's a master's program. It's a 3-year master's program. So these are students who've gone through 4 years of undergrad, 3 years through their graduate program. They're getting their certification to be school psychologists. They come to me and they say, Dr. Grunis, can you give me a recommendation? I'm applying to this other graduate program. Every once in a while that happens. And I'm like, what is going on? Why did you just waste the last 3 years of your life and 60 large and whatever the cost? Why did you waste all that time and energy? And they're like, well, I didn't want to quit, but I realized along the way that it wasn't really for me. So don't waste your time on building your career. Get jobs and internships and experiences, as many as you can now, so that you are sure of what you want to do when you take the next step.
Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem.
Does anyone have any questions for Michael?
I think those were some wonderful stories to share that we hadn't hit on yet. I like the one about the grad student who switches programs. I'm sure that's somewhat common, unfortunately. Okay, so I wanted to introduce Professor Kuroda to speak next about her experiences and advice for internships.
Okay, thank you for inviting me. I just want to say that I teach at IRDP, International Relations and Diplomacy Program. And then also I'm a visiting fellow at the Center of Global Engagement. But in addition, I also serve as an executive coach for the United Nations. Before that, I worked for the UN for 30 years. So basically, teaching is my second career, just to let you know. And so how many of you are interested in the UN, working for the UN or interested in the UN? Raise your hands. I hope some of you are. Yes. So yeah, she is my student, by the way. So I just want to say that my first internship was at the United Nations in New York City at headquarters of the UN. And although I did have a working experience before I started working in the UN, but because, by the way, working for the UN was my dream. And since I was young, I really wanted to work with the UN, but it was really an impossible dream. And particularly, I didn't have any support from anyone. And particularly my father said, no, you're a girl, you don't have to even study, you don't even have to work, all you have to do is find a good man and have a family, and you would be very happy, But I really resisted, and I became a rebel. So I decided to do everything I wanted to do. So I decided to really follow my heart. And so I didn't have much in terms of my competency or anything. I didn't even have really degrees, but I really decided that I want to work for the UN and followed my heart, and everything started. So one day I decided to quit my job, and then I went back to graduate school, and then I learned that I need to get master's and study abroad. So I studied hard, and I got scholarship to study in Switzerland and USA and Switzerland and Belgium. So I did everything, whatever I could. And so when I learned about the internship of the UN when I was studying in Belgium. So I did not know that if I could get in, but I made it. And so then I came to New York And I must say that my work was not necessarily good like Charlie or Davina. I think my job was kind of simple, but it was very exciting because I met so many people. I learned about the UN. I knew how to get into the UN building. You know, I was studying international relations or international law, but once I started to work, I look at things in a more political, in a practical context. You know, I started to understand things, but I met so many people. And because if I cannot get a job at the UN, I have to go back to my country, that was Japan. I didn't want to do that. So I did everything. And then I met everybody. I told everybody I want to work for the UN, etc. So at the end of the internship, I did not get an offer at all. But little by little, I think that I became so good at asking questions to people. I used to be very shy, but I was not afraid to ask questions. You know, I met so many people. I met everyone. So I realized that my first job at the UN was ILO in Geneva. And ILO is a part of the UN system. But when I was working in the ILO, 1 year later, somebody called me from UN headquarters saying they want to see me. And then I was interviewed and I had to take a test. And then I received an offer to work in New York City, you know. So it was because someone recommended me to work there. Well, it doesn't work that way anymore, but you know, it's so important that I followed my heart and insisting I never gave up. And then later on, little by little, I moved from ILO to Geneva, UN office in Geneva, and then I came to New York. So after that, I worked for 30 years. I had also working experience in East Timor for peacekeeping operations. And so after all, thinking about my 30 years of working, I realized that how important it was to do my first internship. I didn't really think about that before until I was asked to speak today. And it's really gave me, it's not that the internship itself, it's not like what I did, it's more that it gave me opportunity to challenge myself. And I think I learned to take this opportunity to grow and learn and push myself so that I was able to open my door to my dream. So I think that it was very, very important. And so as a faculty, I'm supposed to give some advice. So I heard that Davina said that she realized that she didn't like that kind of work, marketing, she didn't like. But I think I must say that for my work in the UN, I have to do all kinds of things. And in my last job was a chief of staff in the peacekeeping missions. So in my career, I did so many things. Sometimes I had to do things that I didn't like, something which was boring, you know. But I realized when I was working as a chief of staff, I realized everything I did became a part of me. So, you know, even you may not like it, but it's part of you. So the fact that you are getting this kind of experience is awesome. So in my teaching, I try to give my students more practical experience so that you really learn by doing things. You know, it's not enough to just read books and just understand and you will just forget. But having a practical experience is really valuable. So I think that is very important. And I, just because I know UN and also I try to help my students, I try to give the opportunities to my students to work as an intern at the UN. So anybody who needs help, you can come to me, and because this is recorded, I'm declaring that I'm helping you. But I just want to say 3 things. If you are really interested in working for the UN as an intern, first, you need to work on your mindset. It's not just any job. You know, you really have to want to work there and prepare your mindset. You know, don't say I want a job. You know, if you really want to work for the UN, you want to set your mind, and then you need to prepare two things. One is application, and application means it's like resume. You may call it resume. UN has its own application form where you need to explain what you have done. So I can review it for anybody who is interested. But when I see the resume, I see everybody put, oh, I have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, my GPA is highest, and it's not what they are looking for. You know, you want to understand what they are looking for. They want to know what you can do for them, for us, right? So it's important to develop a very good application. It's about marketing, you know, so marketing yourself. So it's very important to prepare a good application. I'm sure Samantha and your career coaches are going to help them, I guess. But for the UN, it's a little bit different. So if you send me some students, I can look at them. And another one is interviews. So like UN uses a very special way of interviewing people. So you need to know how to conduct interviews. So I give a lot of workshops to my students. That's why everybody gets in. So it's very important to prepare. It's really prepare is so important. So first you have to have your mindset, and then you have your good application and explaining what you have done, what you can do, and also your interviews. So these are very important. Then also because of my connection, if I know that the applicant is a good student, I will highly recommend so that they get in. Any other questions? Any questions?
Wow, that was such a wealth of information. And I'm so glad that we got that on tape, so to speak. Thank you for offering to extend your invitation to help students who are interested in working at the UN as well. That's really lovely. And we'd love, as career coaches and a career team, I think, to work with you closely on that in the future.
Yeah.
I also wanted to say, I think your story of following what you really wanted to do is very inspiring. And the point that you made about not necessarily the internship itself being important, but who you met along the way, is as a really, really crucial point for students to understand, because I think that's so true. It's a stepping stone on the way to get you to where you want to go, not necessarily the be all end all, like Alan hinted to earlier. You know, you can test the waters with it and not think that it has to be close to your home and in the field you want to work in and with people that you like. It needs to be on your resume essentially to get you to where you want to go. Awesome. I think someone might have asked a question in the chat.
Oh.
He says he wants to ask for some advice on something. So he has a question. In order to make sure he completes his double specialization for the following 2 years, he has to use all his credits this semester, meaning he might not have any credits left for an internship either in the fall or spring. And then his only option is to complete an internship during the summer. I have to pay extra. Okay, thank you for asking that question, Javier. So I think that we could probably refer you to Gina to talk a little bit more about that in depth, since that's a special case kind of situation. And often students don't do internships in the summer. Am I right, Alan? I think typically they do them in the fall or spring semester.
No, they do. They do internships over the summer. Absolutely. So Javier, and you talk more about Gina with this, but you don't need to do an internship for credit necessarily. You can just do an internship and not have it for credit if you want. In that case, you would just do the internship, go there, and it would be, you just put it on your resume, it'd just be resume building experience. That's perfectly fine. But again, you could talk to Gina about that more in depth. But students absolutely do internships over the summer, and sometimes they don't do them for credit. And that's perfectly fine to do.
Yeah, I think that's the clarification point I meant to say, that they typically don't do internships for credit over the summer.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, but over the
That's true.
summer, the internships
Right.
that's a really good distinction to make, actually, Javier. So thanks for bringing that up. We're not only talking about doing an internship for course credit for your major,
Mhm.
we're talking about work experience in general. So going out to look for experience to build your resume, not because it's a requirement for your program, but because you need experience. So
Mhm.
just wanted to make that point clear as well. But great question, great question. Like I said, I think Gina can help you kind of sort that out a little bit further if you want to speak to her about that. All right.
So nobody
other
has a question to me, right? So nobody has a question to me, then I will take off.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor, for
Thank you so much,
sharing your
Professor.
experiences
Thank
with
you.
us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, bye.
Alrighty, so I think we can share we have some video recordings
Yep.
from other faculty who weren't able to make it tonight. We're going to start with Professor Donna Drum from Legal Studies.
Yep. And what I'm going to do to make this easier is I already have the videos pulled up. So I'm just going to, well, I have two pulled up. So give me 1 second while I just share my screen, share the correct screen. Oh, here we go. Awesome. So this is from Professor Donna Drum, who is the chair of the Legal Studies Department, and she is going to be talking to you about internships.
Hello, I am Professor Donna Drum, the Program Director for Legal.
Can everyone hear this okay?
It's a little soft. Are you able to increase the volume on that? Or we can do it on our own devices too.
Yeah. I think it's max volume.
Okay, no worries. We can still hear it.
And I apologize, my internet is freezing up a bit. I am so sorry about that. Let me refresh this to see if that will work.
Hello, I am Professor Donna Drum, the Program Director for Legal Studies. Thank you for being at this presentation. I'd like to talk to you about two things. Home Depot and soup.
This is hilarious.
One of the reasons to take an internship or workplace experience is to find out if you want to be in that type of workplace environment, to be in the soup. You want to be in a workplace environment and smell. What does it smell like? And observe, what are the people like? Is this the type of environment that you want to be in your career? Is it did people start early in the morning and work late until night? Do they kind of start late in the morning and leave about 4 or 5 o'clock? Do they share the same values as you do? How do they dress? Do they go out after work? Or do they just work all day and then go home? Use the technology, find out the office technology, touch the copier, use the phone, find out what it's like to be on a virtual meeting in a professional environment. The two places that my husband went to during the pandemic was Home Depot and the grocery store. One day we went to Home Depot. I had my face mask on with my husband, and we're standing at the cashier, and we see somebody who's working there, and it was a student from Mercy College. She had the orange apron on and her name on the apron and her face mask. And I went over to her and I introduced myself and my husband. She almost fainted that I would be at Home Depot. In the summer, I learned that there were 3 other students that were studying legal studies, and they were working at Home Depot. So I started to think about this. Now, if you are working in retail, if you're working in something that on your resume doesn't match with the type of position that you're going to be looking for after you graduate, do not fear. We all have to work. We all have to make money during college. You can work with the Office of Career and Professional Development to help you balance your work, your internship time, as well as your academic time. They are so flexible. They have lots of different opportunities. The other thing to think about is take a place like Home Depot or Party City. They're large companies. They have legal departments. You work for the company. You can find out and research where the legal department is and call them and say, I work for the company, I'm studying legal studies, and that's my major. And, you know, I'd like to spend 15 minutes with you to find out what a day in the life is of your work. And then you have that meeting with that person, and you might develop a relationship with them. And then an internship could develop from there. They may have an internship in the legal department. Even Mercy, a large organization, we have a legal department. We have an HR department. So if you're in marketing, you can go and find out the marketing company that we use. So look around you and you can create opportunities that even if you're working in retail, you can go and find out what their legal department is. You're going to find out more about how to gain academic credit in the internship program at Mercy. For those of you in legal studies, those course numbers are Laws 380 and 381, Para 380 and 381, and POLS, P-O-L-S, for political science majors and specialization, 380 and 381. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of this presentation.
She is such a hoot. I had no idea that was coming.
Knew because I watched it on Thursday, but I wanted to surprise everyone and I didn't want to give anything away.
I love how she made that so fun, and I didn't know that so many students worked at Home Depot, but I guess we have to chase after people to help them realize they need an internship instead.
Exactly. Absolutely. All right, everyone. So now we are going to switch back to Julia Zavala. We're going to go to Julia Zavala's presentation. So give me 1 second while I pull that up. Give me 1 second, everyone, please. Okay, and this is Julia Zavala, assistant professor in the psychology program here at Mercy College.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Julia Zavala. I'm an assistant professor in the psychology department. So great to have you all here. I wish I could be there with you live, but I'm teaching right now. But I put this video together to share with you a little bit about internship and why they're important to do during your undergraduate years, and also share with you some experience from my students' point of view who have actually done internships. So of course, there are so many reasons for why internships should be done as an undergraduate student, but just to name a few, you are able to actually build knowledge. Right now, you're in the classroom, you're taking in information and learning, but in an internship, you can actually apply what you learned in the classroom. Another reason is it's a great opportunity to network. You build working relationships to supervisors, to other employees working outside. And someday you're gonna need a letter of recommendation, whether it's for graduate school or for a job after you graduate. And so having that working relationship will be valuable when you need that letter of recommendation and you are able to ask your supervisor from the internship you had. Another reason is that you could land a full-time job because of an internship. You could get a job at the site that you're interning at if they're looking for somebody, or you can be able to apply for other full-time jobs and they're going to look at the skills that you developed and gained at the internship site. So it's really important to keep those connections, develop those skills because they're applicable later on. Some of my students, one in particular, she worked at a nursing home. She interned at a nursing home. It was a rehabilitation center, and she did the cognitive and emotional assessments upon the arrival of the outpatient individuals. And it really helped her to gain experience and knowledge for the graduate program that she was applying to. It made her competitive. She developed skills that were applicable in the graduate program that she is currently at, where she's earning her degree in mental health. Another student of mine, she was really interested in gaining research experience. And so I have a contact at Columbia University. I reached out to him. It actually is a place where I did my first internship. And so I myself maintained that contact with him and actually continue to collaborate with him and his team. So I reached out to him and I asked him if he had any availability for an intern. And he met with her and decided to bring her on board. And she really, worked hard. She's responsible. She worked so well with the team there that when a position opened, offered it to her, and now she's working there full time. So there's a lot of important reasons for why internships are valuable, but they're more than that. They're necessary for your. They can make it competitive. Somebody's going to hire you for someone else who's going to do an internship. You have the experience, right? Also for a graduate school, you want to that you have engaged in the field that you are pursuing. And Mercy College is great at providing the resources that you need to find that internship, but then also as you're going through that internship. For example, Mercy has the opportunity for students to register for an internship course, and you gain credit for it. You could gain 3 credits, or you could get 6 credits, depending on the amount of hours that you want to put into it. The internship can be paid or it can be unpaid. So what's valuable about that experience is that you are completing your internship, but you're also getting guidance from the faculty and the professor of that class, so you can reflect on your experience as well. In addition to faculty being a great resource for finding internships, you also have the career and professional development, right? They're there for you to help you along that process. We all want to see you gain those skills to make you marketable for graduate school and for full-time job after. If you have any questions about anything, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is jzavala, CAVALA1 @mercy.edu. So email me if you have any questions, and good luck to you all.
Great to have her in our session, even though she couldn't make it. Okay, and then we have one more video to share from Sarah Shepard, our employer relationship manager, who works with students in the School of Social Behavioral Sciences. So I think Alan, yep, he's gonna go ahead and play hers.
Hello, my name is Sarah Shepard, and I'm the Employee Relationship Manager at Mercy College. One of my main responsibilities is to find internship opportunities for students in social and behavioral sciences, along with health and natural science. I'm also alumni of Mercy College. And like many of you, I was a full-time student and I worked 35 hours a week. Did not have much time for extracurricular activities. I finally decided in May of my senior year that it was time to do an internship. I walked into the Career Center and they shrugged. Why did you wait this long? I ended up landing something quickly, but this meant I was doing my first internship after graduation, which really set me back. Luckily, through hard work, I found my way onto a great career path. So if you're interested in applying to any internships, please make sure you work on your resume first with your career coach. And then after your resume is ready, you can schedule an appointment with me and we can go through our full list of internships and talk about which internships are right for you. I hope to meet you soon. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
So if you haven't identified already all the people to help you, we're overflowing here. All right, and I think that brings us to just about the end of the presentation. I know Alan wanted to share some contact info per department for those faculty you can reach out to for questions on internships and registering them for credit. And so we have Michael who's with us tonight for psychology, sociology, and behavioral science, and Mary Quadrado, for who some of you might know, for criminal justice, Emily Murphy for social work, and Dennis Andrews as well for CASIC. So these are the people you should reach out to. These are the faculty members at Mercy you should reach out to if you want to do an internship for credit, right, Alan?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Correct.
I guess in general for questions.
Yeah, yep. So internship for credit questions and then general internship questions too. Yep. In terms of finding internship and getting your resume ready, those questions would come to us, career and professional development.
Maya wants to know, do you have to be a senior? Are you wondering about having an internship for credit, Maya? Oh, there goes Michael. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you don't have to be a senior, but you do have to make sure you, as kind of Javier hinted earlier, you have to kind of plan accordingly to make sure your credits work out so that you can have space in your schedule for that. Are you currently a sophomore, Maya? I can't remember. Okay, yeah, so you have time. You can do one next year, I think, your junior year. I'm not sure if there's a better semester of spring or fall to do it, but it depends on how your credits work out and where you are in your degree path. So I would definitely speak to your PAC mentor about that too.
Yep. Sam, I was just going to say that. Yeah, speak to your PAC mentor, and they can kind of help you draw out your plan for courses for your time left at Mercy, and then they can figure out when's the best time to fit it in. But yeah, we have students do internships, freshmen, typically sophomore, junior, senior year, but sometimes even freshmen though, and sophomore a little bit less common too. Typically junior, senior, but sometimes freshman and sophomore.
And I can't remember if every program at Mercy or every major at Mercy offers an internship for credit course. I don't think that's the case. I'm not sure if anyone has any more info on that. Or knows otherwise.
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure. There could be courses that I'm missing.
Yeah, I think it might be an option. I know some majors have it as part of the requirement for the degree. Yep. Thank you for that. $3.99. Yep, so I would, if you're wondering about how to fit that into your schedule and you have time to go, I would start talking to your PAC mentor now to plan ahead for when you want to do that. And it does take a decent amount of planning to time it right in terms of having the class ready to go for the semester that you need it, that you want it, and then having an internship to fill that with. That takes some planning. So start now for sure. Okay.
Does anyone have any last minute questions or comments or anything?
think they're ready to go eat dinner.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for coming. And the only thing I would like you to do now is to please take our survey. So you can do one of two ways. If you have a Q&R code scanner on your phone, all iPhones do have this, and a lot of Droids do as well. You can simply scan the code. And also Samantha's putting it in the chat, so you can click on the link and take the survey, as well as our, she'll also be putting our emails in there as well.
I just wanted to say thanks to all of our lovely panelists, students, and
thank you.
faculty who chimed in for our event this evening. Typically, we have this, like all other things, usually we're in person and with food. So sorry we couldn't supply that this time. But it was really wonderful to hear from all the different perspectives. And I think this is going to be very valuable to a lot of students going forward.
Yes, thank you to everyone. We really appreciate your help and your willingness to participate. I know faculty and students are all busy, so appreciate you taking your time to come talk to us.
And shout out real quick to two of our advisory board members, Dina and Charlie, who are sharing with us tonight. That was awesome to hear about your experiences firsthand.
Yes.
So thank you again.
Yes, thank you.
All right, everybody, well, have a good evening.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
See you soon, hopefully.
Bye, everyone.